Alright, back with another video. Now, we did number one, so let's get to number two. Again, I want to talk about it for all the people that didn't know. I wanted to get back with forgiveness. If I can remember correctly. The thing I want to see about it is that this, like, I don't know how many people have spoken to their people from back then that they haven't talked to for years. When I think about forgiving those people, there's a lot of people that I know from back then I wish I could see now that I can, tell them, that I'm glad that we came to this point where we could talk in person, because there's just a lot of people that just haven't got there, and a lot of people just have trouble forgiving people because it's like, nowadays it's just like hard to do that when you got all this stuff going on, with Corona or whatnot. And I'm pretty sure we talked about that multiple times, but there is times where you just have difficulty doing it because you just wish that, social media wasn't the part of the issue. Some people stop forgiving people because of their past tense with social media. Maybe somebody said something on there to where it triggered your mental to where you can't really talk to that person no more because they don't really respect it. And communication is very difficult nowadays because everybody want to put stuff online for people to see. And unfortunately, we got those people that just don't care, and I wish that they did care, because they will understand that nothing is private in this generation we live in, because everything is recorded. But the problem is and it's the reason why we got a lot of trust issues, because a lot of people don't want to, they don't want to look at that. They just want to look at, what's in front of them, but then they don't realize what's behind them. Somebody could really, like, for example, somebody could tape record you while you're talking to them and you don't realize that it's in their pocket, whether it's down here or right here, because, you see I got a zipper right here, so I can just put a tape recorder in here and then just zip up, and then you can't even notice. You just think it's my AirPods and whatnot. And if you don't know what AirPods is, it's like headphones, really, but wireless. So, again, it's pretty much for my phone, so... pretty neat, and don't get me wrong, this generation do got a lot of good things we need and can make it more easier for ourselves, but it's hard because we still have some cons with technology, but what we have is a lot of cons that interrupts our communication with people. I don't know if you noticed, but you see a lot of people being open on social media, but they're not open in real life. And some of it is helpful, but some of it is not, because it's like it affects your social skills a little bit, especially person to person. And it's kind of one of the reasons why it's so hard for people to get job interviews, because they rather do everything online, but they don't want to do everything in person. That's why they struggle, But it's like, again, when you look back at the people that you used to talk to, you gotta wonder how you met them, how do you interact with them, But then at the same time, you always gotta look back at things and be like, how did I even know that person? How did I get to know that person? So the past is definitely the reason, probably the main reason why you stop talking to them. But I feel like how I feel about forgiveness with that. I think it just depends on your past, man. Like, I don't know if I know if it was a family member or somebody, like a neighbor or something, I know if it was something really serious, you wouldn't be able to forgive somebody like that, because you can't forget, especially if you don't have God in your life. But some people can have God in their life, but it's like they live for the world more than they live for God. So it's kind of like you kind of have a difficulties forgiving those people because you haven't forgiven yourself. So it's kind of like that can really hold you back from certain things. And trust me, you can forgive people, but but there's just some people you just can't forgive, because in your mind it's like, yeah, I could forgive them, but if I show them that I forgave them, then 9 times out of 10 they're just gonna go back and do the same. They're gonna go back and say, yeah, he rock with me, bro. He rock with me. You see him, like, you see her, like, it's just like, I think, to me, you have to. I feel like to me, you have to forgive somebody that really understands forgiveness. Like I feel like if you forgive somebody that hates you, then I think that's much easier than for you to forgive somebody that pretends to like you, but deep inside they want to destroy you. I mean, I don't know. I just rather forgive somebody that's honest with me and tell me they don't like me, than forgive somebody that used to like me but still want me to like them. And it's like, I'm not gonna let you know that I forgave you, because then that problem comes with the issue where you're gonna think that you don't think I forgave you to the point where I could take you back. You know what I'm saying? We hate that because it's like we don't want you back. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. If I want to move on, I want to move on. I don't want you in my life. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, there's a lot of people that feel like, that's rude, that's mean. And it's like, no, it's not. It's to protect me and my mental space. I don't want nobody to know nothing about certain things about what it is. I mean, we used to be cool back then. We used to be cool back then. We don't need to be cool now. That was back then. Back then when I didn't know better. Back then when I didn't read human behavior. Back when I didn't see the signs. Now that you changed, I need to see changed behavior. But the problem is you're acting like we were going to be cool again, but you don't know that the patterns are still there. And because our relationship is so messed up, it's the reason why I have to be distant from you, because I don't know who you are anymore. You're not the person I used to be cool with. Whether it's your friend, whether it's your family member, whether it's your particular lover, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, no matter what, I gotta focus on me, because I know my mental space means something. And you got a lot of people that just want you to tough it out, but we have a lot of people that just don't understand toxication. If that person is toxic, I don't want to be around them. I don't want to be around them. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not good for me. And I don't want to be around hate. I want to be around love. But at the same time, I don't want my love to be fake. You understand? I don't want it to be pretended. This ain't a movie. I ain't trying to be in no movie film called love when it's not real love. It's just because once the cameras is off, you're not gonna continue to roll in real life. You know what I'm saying? It's acting, right? So it's kind of like, I'm not gonna play that game. So it's kind of like, but forgiveness, I just want to say it like this. The best thing I could tell people is that always go by your instinct. Like if there's something, this is why you study human behavior. Like I said, go by your instinct, but also study human behavior. Know the movements, know the signals, so that way if that person is willing. That way if that person is willing to do the work or not. Hey, to me, that's what really get them going. Like we don't fight back with the way that the world wants us to do it. We fight back the way we want to do it. I feel like that's the way you can move on. You know what I'm saying? It's very difficult, but at the same time, I feel like that can really help, at least in both areas, to where you're not hurting nobody. You're just trying to protect yourself. But if that person is hurt, I would encourage you to sending healing energy, but do prayer. You know what I'm saying? When you go home, you pray for that person. If you don't believe in God, I'm not expecting you to, but at least understand that in order for you to forgive, you got to have God in your life, and you have to have peace of mind. So even if you don't believe in God, because I get it, but I feel like 92% of the times that most of the people forgive are Christians and people that do believe in God. But there are people that don't believe in God that do forgive people, but you kind of wonder, how did they came to this point where they can forgive? Well, tragedy, maybe if somebody died, or maybe they're just going through a tough time in life and they realize that them holding a grudge is not helping their spirit, and to the point where they got to let that go. So it just all depends at that point, but you got to pray for people and when it comes down to it. But there's just people out there that don't believe in God. So the people that don't believe in God, if you got ways of forgiving people, like I said, man, study human behavior. And that way that you ain't got to carry a cold heart. that you could forgive somebody with a warm heart, but you gotta develop that because you got an ice box where your heart used to be, you know. And if you want to put a heart in there, you know, you gotta like get rid of that ice box. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like you gotta melt it. So it's kind of like there's gotta be, so it has to be some flexibility with it. I feel like forgiveness can be said with that, but you gotta be able to like balance it out. So like I said, study human behavior. There's books you can study it. A lot of if you're not into psychology, I suggest you can start reading a lot of books that in the libraries or like in what those things called. I know those tablets that you call. I think it's called. See, I haven't used them in a long time, but there's a lot of apps that you can use where you can like read books, and you can also like read and do tablets that you can get, and you will also like just you can also like go to the library. The libraries are open now. You know what I'm saying? You can go there. There's a lot of books that could teach you about human behavior. But if you want to go by life experience, you can. So go by that, and hopefully it can balance it out. You don't have to be a Christian to do it. But if you want to have a better understanding about forgiveness, I suggest, you can either get into some psychology books that could teach you that, or you could read the Bible. You know what I mean? It just depends on you and how you take it and how you manage it with your day. But the moral story is, like you're not going to be able to forgive people right away, especially when you got something holding on that's really, really personal. So in order for you to like either manage it or try to balance it out or try to get rid of it, because you're not going to get rid of it because the trauma is still there, right? So like, of course you could talk to your therapist about it if you're in therapy, but if you're not in therapy, you could probably actually like help somebody with just by helping yourself. So always know that if you want to be able to forgive, you got to forgive yourself. But in order for you to learn that, you can know what I'm saying. You can learn through books. You can learn through life experience. You can learn through videos, movies. All through that. And if you can do that, I guarantee you, it can help you and with your life because you see somebody else's life. Like if you try to develop wisdom, I feel like you can learn the mistakes from others. So it helps sometimes, but you also gotta look at yourself and see if it, if it's you. If it can help, it can help. If it doesn't, there's other resources that can help you with that. So, and that's how I feel about it.